paradise. Turn to your neighbor and say, paradise is calling. Paradise is calling. Jesus' arms begin to fatigue as a sharp crank surges through his muscles. He hangs trying to process the relentless throbbing pain all throughout his body. It becomes all the more difficult for him to simply inhale and exhale the few breaths that he has left to take. He's endured hours of searing pain as tissue is torn from his lacerated body as he moves up and down against the rough, rigged timber that we affectionately call the cross. Crucifixion has definitely began to sink in. And so his compressed heart begins to struggle just to keep him alive. And he ends up in a position and a conversation where his compassion has to shine through his beaten, battered, and bloody body. It's in his last hours that the dying criminal makes a request of him. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. How ironic it was for this criminal to be in the same physical dilemma as Jesus was in, but still believe that Jesus had something else to offer beyond this point. Have you ever been in a situation where broken, battered, and bewildered folk pull on you while you need somebody else to pull on? That moment when you pray for folk, when you need somebody to pray for you, the moment when you have to encourage others, when you need a own boost of encouragement, that moment when you have to tarry all night long for those, when you need a spiritual midwife of your own. Have you ever been in a place where what somebody else needs from me, it appears as if I need it for myself? Have you ever found yourself driving on empty to somebody else's destination? Here Jesus is, bleeding to death on a cross. Here he is with nails in his hands. Here he is with nails in his feet. A crown of thorns meshed in his brow. And this criminal got the nerve to ask Jesus to remember him. And without hesitation, without considering his own affliction, without complaining about the scars all over his body, without murmuring and whining about the affliction all over, without saying that they put thorns in my side, Jesus responds and simply said, with blood poured down his body, today you will be with me in paradise. And what I want to know, Jesus, what was so important about paradise that caused you to forget the nails in your own hands? What was so significant about paradise that caused you to look over the blood that was sitting at your mother's feet? Jesus said two things. Paradise for this criminal was important because it was an answer to his prayer. The criminal asked for the kingdom. Jesus gave him paradise. This answer let the criminal and many of us know that there is nothing we can do that will cause us to be exempt from God hearing and answering our prayers. My response of paradise, Jaleesa, let the criminal know that I heard him as my child. My response to paradise for the backslider for which I'm married to lets them know that I still hear him. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray. I wanted Jaleesa, this dying man, to know that I'm still concerned about his prayer. Jesus didn't fix the situation, but the criminal died knowing that paradise was his answered prayer. The situation might not change, the relationship might not be restored, the career might not go in the direction that you wanted, but as long as God can hear my voice, as long as he listens to me, as long as he is concerned about me. Why else was paradise so important? I'm going to take my seat. Paradise was important because it assured the criminal of eternal relief. At this point, Drew, the pain for both of them had become unbearable, and relief was not available in the will of the Father at this moment. But God promised, Jesus promised this criminal that shortly thereafter
the moment that would annihilate the plan of